Each month, this is the Flamingo Files, and each month we get together with Florida mystery authors to talk about their new books. I am your host, Tracy Hall, and I am the author of the Scottish Shire Mystery Series, the Cider Falls Mystery Series, and the Irish Castle series as Ellie Brannigan. My co-host today is New York Times bestselling author Lisa Black. She is the author of the Gardner and Renner series. The Flamingo Files is provided by the Florida chapter of the Mystery Writers of America.
This month, hormones and roasting turkeys are only some of the chaos rolling through Key West in the 16th mystery from USA Today bestselling author Lucy Burdette. Then we'll discuss how to survive the aftermath of violence when closure is impossible with Dr. Jan Yager. Their impressive bios and links are in our show notes. So look there for more information. So Lucy, in A Delicious Deception, sleuth and foodie Hayley Snow is very pregnant. Her hubby Nathan, a detective, tries his best to keep Hayley safe, but he is called away to care for his dad in the hospital in Miami. Hayley has a great supporting cast, including her mom, who bakes. Ziggy, the dog, is a good sport about his first professional bath. And we'd like to warn our listeners to have snacks available while reading. Lucy, we just loved Hayley and her crew. So tell us about the book.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So this is the 16th book in the Key West Food Critic Mystery Series, and it's called A Delicious Deception. I thought that the former one, The Mango Murders, was the end of the series. Nobody had said that, but you just figure this has gone on and publishers get antsy. And so I thought a way to go out well, sweetly, would be if Hayley turned up and unexpectedly pregnant. And then they asked me to write more. So in this book, she is very pregnant, which is a risk because I know there are some readers that think it's ridiculous that a 9-month pregnant woman would be out solving mysteries, but that's where you say it's fiction.
Have they not seen Fargo?
Yeah. No, it's probably a different audience than Fargo. These are
Oh my God. She did really good in that, though. We also have Dr. Jan Yager with us today talking about her fictional play, Holding On and Letting Go. I understand that this fictionalized version is something very personal for you. And how you wrote this full-length play was so compelling and very, very heartwarming, with a universal message of healing. So why don't you tell us about it and why you wrote it?
Sure. Well, Holding On, Letting Go is a full-length play that's published in book form. The first act is what happened. And initially, I started with the brother being the victim of a mugging. But my husband, Fred Yager, who's another terrific writer and an editor, he said, no, you have to have people care about him. So I created this fictitious experience where he's in a coffee shop working on the review of the music. He in the play, he's a music reviewer. And the interesting thing is that that's what's exciting about writing. The waitress who interacts with him, she became a character in the play. She shows up at the funeral, and it turns out she has a conversation with the sister because she was the last person before the muggers to see her brother alive. The second act is fast forward 50 years. I want to use the same actress for the two acts. So in the second act, she's gained a lot of weight. So you could do that with a fat suit. And she's dealing with her complicated grief. she decides after getting on the scale and being shocked at what her weight's become, she decides to join a support group for those who have lost someone to homicide. Every single person in the support group is fiction, but the experience is something I've been privileged to put myself through the last year and a half, and it's been so healing. And it just I'll be blunt. The reason I wrote the play is last summer I did 8 interviews for a short documentary on this same theme, and I am going to do the documentary, but I was blocked on it. And one of my other areas of expertise is time management, the concept of creative time management. So if you're blocked on something, do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed that the play came together in a very short period of time because I was just dealing with myself. A documentary, I have all those interviews to edit. I have to work with a editor and cameraman, and I will get back to the documentary, but it was very cathartic, and I was really worried about what people in support groups might think of the play, but they've all found it cathartic and powerful and very healing as well. So it's exciting, and of course I want the play to be produced, but
Uh-huh.
till then it's available.
Well, Lucy, your series, you were talking about possibly ending your series, but continuing. What is the secret to a successful series?
I don't know what the secret is. My feeling is it has to have to do with the characters. So I was a psychologist in my former career, and that's what I'm most interested in. So to have a big long arc of this food critic character is what's kept me interested. She starts out, she's 23 or 24, and she's just come on the spur of the moment to Key West because she thinks she's in love, and that falls apart right away. And when people read that first book, they say, I don't know how much I like this Hayley. But I say, stick with it because she's improved.
She's
And then in each book, you can add more relatives, friends, people that have interesting backstories that I think keep the books from being, Cabot Cove and just a murder and solve it. Because, yeah, it's the people that I'm most interested in. So that's my secret.
Well, you did such a good job. You really, really did.
Thank
All
you.
right. So we kind of got a little bit of this, Jan, but what is your writing process? I want to know what it's like at your desk for the daily. Do you write every day or do you write when the muse strikes? Or, I mean, you did give
Wow.
it. Oh,
Well, I have just published my 73rd book,
nice.
and I would
Congratulations.
love to, since I am a time management expert as well as a novelist, I have 5 novels. I would like to say that I have this very scientific process, and
Yeah.
but I I I do go with the muse.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
when
not
it
expecting that.
strikes, when it strikes. Oh, and it's because now my husband and I are empty nesters. When it strikes, I could literally, do a blitz for days. And I teach college, but I teach remotely. But when I wrote my first mystery, my children were 3 and 7, and I had to write in spurts.
Yeah.
And that took literally years to be able to pull it together. Um, so I do, Robin Sharma, who's also published by my Indian publisher, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. He has a book called
So,
the 5 a.m. Club. Now, I didn't know there was a club, but I do wake up at 5. And I love to be up early before everyone else. And I do a lot of work internationally. I'm in 35 languages. So I recently was having almost a dialogue instantaneously with my agent in Indonesia at 4:22 in the morning, which you can't do if you know it's 9 a.m. or
Yeah.
10 a.m. Um, so the process is really just going with the flow, prioritizing what do I have to do. If I have an assignment from a publisher, then of course I have to have a much more methodical approach. But if it's my own work and I'm doing it through my own company, I can just go with the flow.
Pretty nice.
And, and Lucy, what about you? Do you write every
Yeah,
day?
I'm the opposite, oddly enough. Yeah. Because for me it's deadline driven. So if I have this book that I've just started that's due in March, then I figure backwards how many words a day or a week I have to write in order to get the draft finished and have some people read it. And that's how I try to go. I'm lucky to have I belong to a long running blog, the Jungle Red Writers,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
they're all well published and accomplished writers. And we have a little side group chat where we report in what we've gotten done. Now that's an amazing spur because you don't want to be the one that said,
I did
"Oh,
nothing.
I got zero today." So it's really helpful to have that commitment to tell people what you've done.
Well, that's interesting because I think it goes back to the fact that at about 9 years old, walked out of brownies and was not, my whole life would have been different if I stayed in brownies and became a Girl Scout. I
Yeah.
belong to a million wonderful associations, including the Mystery Writers of America, but writer groups and I have had a love-hate relationship.
Interesting.
I have actually tried a few over the years, but my accountability, I do keep when I start a book and it's 0 words. The fun thing is I have a wonderful at a glance paper planner. So every day when I write, I put in the word count. And it's so gratifying to go from 0 on X day to, whether it's a week later or a month later or 3 months later, you know, 85,000 words or 56,000 words. So that's my accountability is basically with myself. But as I said, if I do have a deal with the publisher, and they want a book at a certain date, I do have to make sure that everything's going to work out. In the old days, there was a lot more flexibility with deadlines, but now, because of the online retailers and all sorts of issues, they really want to know that something's
Right.
coming in exactly when they ask for it.
Right. And if you miss a deadline, it could be a lot longer than you hoped that it would actually be published. And I'm the opposite of you there too, because I'm a pack animal all the way. I'm in the same writers group for 24 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
Wow,
yeah, we
that's
meet
amazing. That's
every two
very
weeks,
impressive.
whether it's in person or by Zoom. And so that keeps me motivated too.
Wow. And well, that's what's so wonderful about talking to different writers, how different our styles are.
Yes.
Well, Jan, in your book, Sue reaches out to a support group 55 years after the crime that killed her brother. You touched on this a little. You said it was cathartic. Did it help you to finally let go?
Well, as you all know, and I should mention to our listeners, when I was a 20-year-old art student, believed the world was just. naively. My 23-year-old brother, on the way home from reviewing an off-Broadway play, was accosted by a teenage gang who decided not just to mug him, but to stab him. And uh, the letting go. I think going back to what Tracy said, because it's interesting that my surviving sister in last December, her health took a very bad turn for the worse. And I believe that writing the play, which actually got published around the time my sister died from blood cancer in April, um, the catharsis was not only holding on, letting go of my brother,
Mhm.
but also my surviving sibling, because she was the only person who, over the years, allowed me to talk about our brother.
Oh,
Because one of the things, when you read the play, you'll see so many people in the support group share that, unlike any other kind of death, people will shut you down if you start talking about the person. So it's just too threatening. It makes them feel too vulnerable.
Hmm.
Um, so
Okay.
so that was the catharsis. It was letting go of Seth, my brother, and also letting go of my sister Eileen.
Hmm.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very sorry.
yeah. Well, we went through life as twins, even though we were a year and a half apart, because when I was in sixth grade, I was given the chance to skip eighth grade.
Oh.
For some reason, my parents, they were intelligent people, a dentist and a kindergarten teacher, asked my 11-year-old sister, should your sister skip eighth grade? Because you will then be going through school together.
Yeah.
And my sister didn't want to hold me back. So we went through high school together and middle school together. And
Oh.
when we went to our 25th reunion, people still thought we were twins,
oh,
even though we
Yeah.
looked like one of us was adopted. Um,
Mhm.
so her passing was a very
yes.
traumatic experience for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is just so hard. Ah,
Yeah.
so hard. Ah, well, okay. Ah, you each ended your books very differently. And I wanted to say that I appreciated them both. Lucy had recipes at the end of hers, and I am a huge, like, I love to eat. Comfort food is, it would be I really related to Sue in that, in your play. And Jan, you ended with hotline numbers, completely different. Um, and I feel like, I think that both are such like important ways to be able to end and close, even though they are so different. I really am looking forward to the next adventures with our Nathan and Hayley, and I know that there's going to be some good drama, and I know there's going to be some good recipes. And Jan, with your message about abuse and violence, but also the hope, just really, we just, everyone that we know has been touched by this in some way. And so it's just the knowing that even 55 years later, like you wrote in the play, there was still assistance there. And so,
Sure.
yeah, that's huge.
Very
And
important.
just in the last couple of weeks, I was for 7 years a reviewer for Backstage newspaper, and I reviewed a lot of the actors in their early years who went on to do a lot of things in Hollywood. Brian Dennehy and Jim Handy was not only an actor I reviewed, but he was a friend of my ex-boyfriend who I met at the time. And as you may have read, he was tragically killed by the allegedly by the son of his girlfriend. So, it just is sadly something that so many people are dealing with.
and relate.
But we were talking about what we're reading before you came on, Jan, and I think it speaks to how people can find closure and find comfort reading all kinds of things. So I have a whole set of readers who just love cozy mysteries because it takes you into a different world than our real world, which is pretty darn ugly right now. And I was at an event the other night, and a woman came up to me who's just graduated from law school, and she said, I have a friend, a guy who's just graduated, and he would be so thrilled to know that I was here talking to you because he loves your books. But he says, don't tell anyone that a lawyer loves cozy mysteries. So I said, that's fine, just so long as he's
Secret
reading.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always said that the nicest thing that any reader has said to me is that I completely forget about my troubles when I'm reading your books.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
why don't
Yeah.
you each tell us where readers can find your books? Lucy, where can they find Delicious Deception?
My books are published by Crooked Lane Books, so they're available anywhere. They're in bookstores, they're online, certainly Amazon, Barnes and Noble, but there are two wonderful little bookstores in Key West. So if anybody is there, they both carry the whole series and are passionate about them. So it's not hard to find them.
Okay, good.
Sure.
And Jen,
Same,
where can readers
sure.
find Holding On, Letting Go?
Same with me. Anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Walmart.com, bookshop.org, Barnes and Noble. But listeners can also go to my main website, drjanyager.com, and they'll find the book there and they can just click on and they'll be taken to a place where they could purchase it. It's in ebook and print. I'm holding off on audiobook because, as I mentioned when we first started, my goal is for the play to be produced, and I don't want to have any confusion over, an audio version before there's a actual play, which I hope we can have another session when we talk about that premiere.
That sounds good to me. We want to be invited to your premiere. All right, so when we do our Flamingo Files wrap up, we are going to be I'm going to be giving 3 Florida man/woman headlines. And you guys need to guess which one is the lie. Are you ready?
There's only one lie.
There's only one lie. There's 3 possibilities and one lie. Florida man accused of fatally shooting neighbor whose cat walked onto his property. Florida man defending home from alligator, capturing the reptile inside a trash can. Florida man hijacks helicopter to give impromptu tour of Everglades. Which one is a lie?
They all sound very plausible, but
unfortunately,
they say never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. So I'm a little reluctant to tell you that. I don't know. Lucy,
the cat one, I totally believe.
The cat one you believe.
I believe all 3, but
and the alligator,
I
absolutely.
think possibly the third one.
The helicopter's what I'm going for.
You guys got me.
Good job, Tracy. Yeah.
Oh, this was so fun. We just are so glad that you guys are here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming. But
thank you so much.
Viewers, tune in September 15th to hear from our Florida Chapter Mystery Writers of America president,
I'll just flash
Daniel
my
Miller. Yes, show the book.
Yes,
Author of Buried in the Woods Below, and Jose Bogran's A Random Thief. And don't forget to check out previous Flamingo File podcasts on our YouTube channel, where this one will also be recorded in perpetuity for repeat view.
Oh, all right.
Thanks so much for having us, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.